Welcome back, my friends. Big Bill Anderson's Life Tours back at you again. Still, believe me, I'm going to leave here, but I am still at the National Cemetery in Los Angeles paying my respects to yet another serviceman, Staff Sergeant Grant Williams. If the name doesn't sound familiar to you, it's because he was in one of the greatest B science fiction movies of 1957 called The Incredible Shrinking Man. You gotta see it. Great special effects. You'd love the movie, but I grew up watching this movie, and I am here to pay my respects to Mr. Grant Williams and let you know that he served our country in Korea fighting for the United States. I commend him for that. He was only 51 years old when he passed away. I'll tell you a little bit more about him, my friends. Stay with me.
Grant Williams was born John Joseph Williams in New York City on August 18, 1931. Williams began acting in summer stock as a child. After graduating from high school, he enlisted in the United States Air Force, serving from 1948 to 1952, before and during the Korean War. He was discharged as an Air Force Staff Sergeant, and Williams earned a BA in journalism from New York University. After his Air Force service, he enrolled at the Actors Studio in New York City under Lee Strasberg. Williams' early theatrical experience was intensive. His work in the theater was all off-Broadway. Following small roles on television, Williams was spotted by a talent scout on Kraft Television Theater in 1954 and signed with Universal Pictures in March of 1955. He made his film debut in Red Sundown in March of the following year in the small but memorable role of hired thug Chet Swan. This film was followed by the noir thriller Outside the Law in 1956, then by the western Showdown at Abilene, and by the romantic comedy Four Girls in Town in 1957. In his most memorable role, Williams starred as Scott Carey in his seventh film, the Hugo Award-winning science fiction film The Incredible Shrinking Man in 1957, with Randy Stewart playing his wife Louise. The premise of the film is that while relaxing on a boat, Scott is engulfed by a strange fog that approaches. Months later, he discovers that he appears to be shrinking. By the time Scott has reached the height of a small boy, his condition becomes known to the public. As Scott shrinks to the point he can fit into a dollhouse, he has a battle with his family cat, which leaves him lost and alone in the basement, where he is now smaller than the average insect. Most of his time is spent battling a ferocious spider, his own hunger, and the fear that he may eventually shrink down to nothing. I have seen this movie at least a dozen times, and if you like bizarre science fiction type movies, The Incredible Shrinking Man is for you. However, despite good reviews and the success film, his career continued with only lackluster roles. Universal Pictures dropped his contract in 1959, and he signed in 1960 with Warner Brothers, where he had a continuing role as the private detective Greg McKenzie on Hawaiian Eye, co-starring Robert Conrad, Troy Donahue, and Connie Stevens. Several films and television roles followed, including playing Colonel George Custer on the show Yancey Derringer, and the role of a psychopathic killer in the 1962 film The Couch. But fame still eluded him. He made 2 guest appearances on Perry Mason in 1964 as columnist and murderer Quincy Davis in The Case of the Ruinous Road, and defended Dr. Todd Mead in the 1965 episode The Case of the Baffling Bug. He starred as troubled military psychologist Major Douglas McKinnon in the Outer Limits episode The Brain of Colonel Barnum. Also in 1965, Williams played the title character Albert Patch Saunders in the Bonanza episode Patchwork Man, as well as the 1960 episode Escape to Ponderosa. Williams attempted a comedic role on the radio airwaves in the anthology program Family Theater, September 11, 1957, the show's last episode, and there was some lightheartedness to his delightful role as Mike Carter in the half-hour episode Millionaire Gilbert Burton, April 29th of 1959, of the series The Millionaire. As his acting career declined, he opened a dramatic school in West Hollywood. Williams continued to act occasionally in both movies and television, but without much conviction and in inferior products. His last released film appearance was in Doomsday Machine, 1972. However, it was actually shot in 1969. Brain of Blood in 1972 was his last acting work for the screen. His last TV appearance was in 1983 on the game show Family Feud, along with other former cast members from Hawaiian Eye. Grant Williams died on July 28, 1985, of peritonitis at the Veterans Administration Hospital, just a half a mile from this location at Los Angeles National Cemetery, where he is laid to rest. He was only 53 years old. So my friends, I wanted to come here today and pay my respects to actor Grant Williams and thank him for his contribution to the war effort for the Korean War. And I have always appreciated veterans. My father was a veteran in World War II, and I have the deepest respect for anyone that serves in our armed forces. So, my friends, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share the video if you care to, and subscribe if you have not done so as of yet. Ring the notification bell to be alerted for future videos. And that's about it, my friends. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy day and watching this video. Thank you to all my new subscribers. Thank you to all my subscribers that have been with me since the very beginning and watched my channel grow. We still got a long way to go, and we have a lot more adventures ahead of us, my friends. So thank you very much. Stay tuned, my friends.